Well, as you can see, it's pretty busy in here at the moment. I've been working on the pots. I'm actually doing the last one now. We're almost finished. I've just got this prawn pot and this one, which I'm probably going to, well, I might decommission the small one that's on the floor here. And I brought all the ropes in that because, as many of you will know, who are up in the UK, there's been some horrendous storms. Same down here, and I just wanted to get stuff out so it didn't get soaking wet while I work on it and that. So all the ropes came in. They're being re-leaded or taped because the thing with having a new winch this year, these long leads, as they go over, they bend and they're damaging the tape. So I'm going to have to redo these sort of things and do them a bit more like this on the newer ropes. They'll be short pieces as opposed to long, so you don't get this horrible like bending effect on it, which is what's causing the problem. Anyway, rod eyes came in this week, so nice big box of rod eyes, 12 quid a box. I mean, they look really good for what they are. I was expecting some really badly finished cheap things, but they look really good. They're finished well. Whether the ceramics stay in is another thing. But I bought some expensive ones last year and they only lasted a year, or one of them did anyway. So I decided to just get cheaper ones this year, and because I need to fix this right here. It's partly on one of the old beach casters that I've had for years. You see the end's gone. And I've got another couple of rods there. One of them is Rebecca's actually. Hers needs to be sorted out as well for some fishing, which will be coming eventually. Now, at the moment, there's no fishing going on, purely because obviously the weather's no good. And I've not been feeling great for a few weeks. I went a bit quiet because I'm suffering with breathing problems. Now, you might think, oh, COVID, but it's, I get this every year. And I think it's just the damp. It just causes me to get really tight chest at this time of year. And then later on, it'll disappear and it'll be like it never happened. I did have a COVID test, or took a home test, just to be certain, and it came out negative, so hopefully it's accurate. So like I say, there won't be any fishing for a couple of weeks, but once we get into December, I'm hopefully going to be heading out again, doing some fishing. Then we're going to be heading out, well, we're going to be going, maybe doing a bit of squid fishing, maybe doing some shore fishing, then possibly even a bit off the dinghy if the weather's fine enough. I have to wait and see on that. And then we're going to be doing a bit of foraging, mainly for the abalone that we get here, although we will be looking for other things like lobsters, that kind of thing. So we'll see how we get on with them. But again, at the moment, there's just no good tides. There hasn't been any really good tides since that coastal foraging video I did a few weeks back. The tides are so small. I mean, you need big tides to get down to the lobster, because they're not going to be halfway up the beach, I tell you that much. Anyway, today's video is going to be out in the boat. We started off heading out. It was a nice day. Went and did a spot of fishing with the rods, and then moved on and did all the crab pots and looking for those big old spider crabs and lobsters. So let's go and see what we caught on this trip. Well, it's a cracking morning. We're going to be heading out, and we're going to actually try and see if there's any fish again. We've had one or two fish the last few days, but nothing more than that. I'm going to try now because there's a little window where sometimes you get a little batch of fish for an hour or so in a certain spot at a certain time. So that's where we're going to go and have a quick look. It's mainly mackerel, but there might be the odd bass or pollock around as well, we'll see. And then I'm just going to go and check for a few pots that are out deep and leave it at that. On the side, but still a good one. Still a good fish. I'm keeping that one for the table. Right, I'm going to go and check the pots. Not all of them, but some of them. Just while the tide's slack, that'll be easier. Look at that, 2 days, completely empty pot. There's a couple of babies in here. Probably both undersized. I mean, that would be undersized for sure. And I'm pretty sure that's undersized as well. There's no crab at all in the pots. Even little ones. Bad one. this is a better one. I mean, it's not bad, but I'll hold on to it. Again, in a minute when we finished. This one. Nice. That'll be a size one. Spider there, that one. How's that for a crab? That's a big one of our biggest. I'm not sure if it's big as the one the other day. Probably the second biggest this year, that one. Something like that. That's a hell of a crab. Down again. There's a little one still in there. We've got enough bait, I think. Yeah, bait's good enough. That's a nice one. I tell you what, the pots that have been the closest in this year, like the closest to the shore, they've done nothing. There just seems to be nothing really close in. It's all the pots that are further out. Unless they just haven't made it to the shore properly yet for some reason. Maybe they stayed, maybe that storm we had pushed them out deep. And they're not stupid, they'll move when there's weather like that. But no, the sets I've got right along the shore area where I normally do really well, they've caught absolutely nothing. Well, I've seen one undersize so far, and that's pretty damn bad. Wow, it's clear, I can see the bottom. No tide. Well, we may not have caught many fish, 2 to be precise, but we had some nice lobsters, and we didn't do all the pots again, we just did some. Like I say, I like to leave them out 2 days, so I'll quite often I'll lift some I lift every day, it depends, but quite often I'll lift some and leave them for a day or 2 and lift them again. But obviously if the catch was very good I'd probably do them every day, but again the pots are very sketchy at the moment, even though we've had some nice ones. Where they're supposed to catch they're not catching, and where they don't normally catch they're catching, so you can never tell. This is a male lobster, you can tell just by the size of the claws. Females always tend to have a bigger body and smaller claws. Males bigger claws, smaller body. I mean, after a while you can just tell by looking at a lobster if it's a male or female. I mean, like that, because you can see the tail tapers, it narrows. Female tends to stay straight. So when you look at it like that, you don't need to start looking underneath unless you want to be 100%. But the only time it's difficult is if the lobsters are a bit small and they're little ones, and then they can be tricky to tell because they haven't developed that tapering tail yet. Alright, that's a female. Smaller claws and wider tail.